The Packers lost their 7th game of the season on Thursday night versus Tennessee Titans. Green Bay plays in one of, if not the worst division in football. Let's get it out of the way. And to start the year 4-7, Aaron Rodgers has played better recently with Christian Watson improving. Was it 4 TDs in the last 2 weeks? That's great to see. But the Packers season's over. We can all acknowledge it's time for Indianapolis for Green Bay. They failed themselves in 2022 when they didn't go with top-notch receiver. George Pickens dropped the wide-open touchdown on Sunday, but I still would say rather convincingly he is a lot better than Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. But with all that out of the way, the Packers' mistakes are in the past. I believe they need to start Jordan Love soon. Because in the NFC, they're not grabbing a wildcard spot. Aaron Rodgers ranks 26th, 27th this year in QBR. It's very clear to me he's not going to carry this team, which is just not a good team at all. It's not a playoff caliber squad. So I'm going to hit it to you guys. Should Jordan Love start in the next 2 weeks?
No. No, I'm still gonna say no. It's Aaron Rodgers. You don't do that. At the end of the day, the Packers have shown to us that they are not convinced about Jordan Love. We know that. And I'm sorry. I feel like I saw Jordan Love start a regular season game, and while albeit maybe that was his first start in a tough environment. I believe the game was in Kansas City, am I right? Tough spot to throw your rookie in. Yeah. But the fact that this guy hasn't sniffed much playing time, or Packers haven't threatened to just go with this guy when they could have done it to start this season, that just tells me all I need to know. I don't think he's ready. I don't think the Packers necessarily believe in him. And if you're gonna look at me or look at this Packers situation and say that they're the way they are because of Aaron Rodgers, you're crazy. They're not. I think they have the guy under center, and they've had him for all these years. I think the Packers should be trying to wine and dine the guy, trying to get him that number one receiver to give themselves opportunity. Because guess what? He's not getting any younger. This Packers situation, this window is closing shut, and it's closing fast. Just the last couple of years, Rodgers has been appearing in NFC title games. And that's how you repay him? No. I think they need to go in, invest in their quarterback big time. You're never going to get another Devontae Adams. You're not. I'm sorry. But you still can put better pieces on the field than what you already have. Packers are a good team, quality team. They should be winning way more than 4 games. They should not be 4-7 right now. So no Jordan Love. Keep Rodgers there, because you know what? You never know. Maybe they do get hot or a little run to keep Aaron happy or optimistic about the next season.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, there's 6 games left. I said when we posed this question a couple weeks ago, I believe, that you don't start Jordan Love until you're mathematically out of the playoff picture, and they are currently still in that playoff picture. Obviously, everything would have to go right, but they're still in it mathematically. Again, I agree with Justin's sentiments. They've shown, the Green Bay Packers have shown their hand. They could have went with Jordan Love and traded Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. They decided not to do that. I don't think the question is, should they start Jordan Love in the next 2 weeks? I think the real question is Aaron Rodgers going to be a Green Bay Packer come next season?
No. Okay. So the reason why I pose this question is because everybody thinks Jordan Love is a bust, but he is the one quarterback from the 2020 NFL draft that hasn't gotten that starting opportunity. We've seen with Jalen Hurts, it takes time for these players to develop. And with a project like Love, no kidding, the Packers didn't choose him because he is raw. When something needs seasoning, you have to give them reps. And one step further, when you're behind the 2-time reigning NFL MVP, who goes and wins that award twice right after you were drafted, you kind of were what lit the fire under his you-know-what to help him have 2 of his best career seasons. Yeah, for Brian Gutekunst and the Packers, there was not a whole lot of pressure because they were comfortable with Aaron Rodgers. Why would they deviate from that, knowing, hey, look, we're going to take a step back with Jordan Love because he's nowhere near as polished as a top 5 quarterback in the league? Now, is that Jordan Love's fault, or is that on the Packers front office for not being able to recognize, hey, maybe we should surround Aaron with a couple of these receivers? MVS, Devontae Adams. If you could have kept at least one of them, that would have made a difference here. You chose to keep neither. So in theory, you should move Rodgers because he does not click instantly with these young receivers. They chose not to, and this year it's been a fool's errand. They had picked things up, and yes, they're not mathematically eliminated from the postseason. But when you look at their next 6 games, that Philadelphia next week, it's probably going to be a loss. Then after that, the
I
schedule
wouldn't
really
say
does
that,
open up,
but
and it's the best way to get a young quarterback out there.
I was just gonna say, and I've made this point before. It's about like, listen, they're obviously not seeing what they need to see in practice, and like, how are you going to trust somebody when they're not showing you what they need to show you in practice, in game time? How are you going to trust that person? You can't have any trust in that person.
Brandon,
Go ahead.
was Jordan Love a polished prospect as a quarterback coming out?
No, he should have never been a first round draft pick. Everybody said that at the
He
time. He
shouldn't have.
should not have been a first round draft pick. If the Packers don't take him there, he's not a first round pick.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I think some team would have, like the 32nd pick. You get him, you get that extra year as a
I
rookie
highly doubt that.
option.
I mean, we would have to look at the teams that were picking right behind them. I highly doubt that. Those teams usually are the established ones with a quarterback. That's why it was shocking to see Green Bay take them when they needed a receiver and they didn't take a receiver or an offensive player really to begin with.
That might go down as probably the stupidest draft move I've seen in a long time.
I don't think it was a stupid draft move.
No,
Well,
it was.
It was
Because
not.
when you draft him and then you go out of your way to also extend your quarterback, and you had to like Brandon just said, you had a chance to trade him. Now it's just looking like a useless first round pick.
It's because they were trying to get ahead of the curve. They were like, oh, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing like dog crap when they drafted Jordan Love. They were trying to get ahead of the curve and being like, oh, well, most quarterbacks fall off usually around this age. So we're going to get ahead of the curve, kind of like what Bill did with Jimmy Garoppolo. Listen, you can't predict these things with all the time. You can't. You got to go with the guy and you got to just have your full faith in him. This is your guy for right now. It's a win now league. It's not win for the future.
No, I
Tomorrow's
think
not
they just got
guaranteed.
cute. I think it was just a move that they got a little too cute with. They hit the lottery when they got Aaron Rodgers, and he got to sit behind Brett Favre. Not every quarterback is going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers is, even if you sit them 4 years behind a quarterback. If Ryan Mallett sat 4 years behind Tom Brady, Ryan Mallett does not turn into the next Tom Brady. No, he doesn't. Some people aren't built like that. So they went in there with the expectation of, hey, he can sit a couple of years and we could just run it back with him. No, that's not how it works. Aaron Rodgers is one of a kind. Jordan Love is Jordan Love.
Okay. This is where I fundamentally disagree with you guys. The Jordan Love draft pick by the Packers was not a mistake because, number one, without him being there, I don't think Aaron Rodgers plays at the level he just did the last 2 years. There's not going to be as much motivation, as much of a fire. So I think that was huge. But number two, the real issue was going quarterback and not receiver in the second or third round. They go power back with A.J. Dillon, and we've seen typically receiver is more useful than a second running back. And then in the third round, they take a tight end who is barely playing for them. If either of those 2 mid-round picks became something of substance, and let's say that was a very good receiver, I mean, heck, a Chase Claypool, one of those guys who were very valuable for their current teams through 3 years, that would have been a big difference. And I don't think we will look at it at Jordan Love with so much scrutiny now. And look, I'm going to say it all the time with Jordan Love. For any raw, unpolished quarterback with all the tools we've seen with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes is the one outlier. It takes them time to get better. They don't sit behind Aaron Rodgers and get no game reps with the exception to a few preseason games, and all of a sudden, things click. Because with Rodgers, he struggled until he got those starting opportunities. And for some quarterbacks, they learn at different curves than others. I think Jordan Love has the entire package. The size, the arm strength, the talent, the accuracy, and the mobility to extend plays. It's just a matter of him getting out there, learning coverages. Because in that Chiefs game, he's going up against the Steve Spagnuolo defense, seeing coverages he was never seeing in the Mountain West. It takes a quarterback like him time to grow. The same way with Josh Allen. People would call Josh Allen a bust midway through his second season as a starter. It takes all of these quarterbacks reps, learn experiences, and most of all, growing pains. And for Love, he hasn't experienced them yet. So for me, I look at the Packers' last 5 games this year. After the Eagles game, I personally would not bench Rodgers this week. But assuming they lose to Philadelphia on the road, I surely think if you're 4-8, you start Jordan Love right then and there.